Okay, now in this little maintenance repair video I'm going to talk about reed gapping and reed tuning on diatonic harmonicas. These are a couple of very easy techniques really that anyone can try. Probably the best thing to do if you're just starting from scratch is to use a really old harmonica that's you're not going to play because initially the sensitivity and the feel of it takes a bit of bit of getting used to. Okay, let's start with reed gapping. Now in the toolkit that Suzuki sell, they include these little tools here. This is a reed I don't know what you call it exactly, but it's a poker is what I call it. And then there's also a small file which has been beveled at the end. And I'll just show you how you can use those. First of all, with the reed gapping, the response of the draw reeds on a diatonic harmonica, these are the ones you can bend. The response of those reeds is really affected a lot by the gap of the blow reed. So the draw reeds are the ones underneath here, the blow reeds are the ones on top. Now if that gap at the top there is nice and low like it is now, you get a lovely crisp and easy bend on the draw reed. But I'll just show you what happens if I increase the gap on the blow reed. And by the way, the gap that I'm talking about is simply the amount by which the reed sits above the reed plate. On a draw reed it would be raised that way, on a blow reed it would go in that way. So I'm just going to bend this blow reed down here a bit. Here's what it sounds like now. And the draw reed. So both reeds are sounding good and strong, and it's easy to bend the draw reed. Now if I increase the gap on that blow reed, I'm just going to bend it down. You can do quite a lot of bending of reeds, they're pretty resilient. So you see I'm just using this little poker and pushing down, and you should see the gap now is quite significantly increased on that blow reed. Now it should still make a noise with a very strong breath. But if I do a soft breath it probably won't work so well. Oh, it still is actually. Maybe I'll increase the gap a bit more. So with a soft breath now it's not working. But if I blow harder, it does work, but I have to really blow quite hard to make it work. So that's the blow reed. It's not working as well, but listen to the effect on the draw reed. It's quite an airy, breathy sound, and the reason for that is that when I draw on that draw reed, a lot of air is coming through that huge gap in the blow reed now, and you just get a lot less pressure and response on the draw reed. Really hard to bend. So the draw reed is really hugely affected by the blow reed gap. So if your diatonics aren't really bending as nicely as they should down the bottom end, try reducing the gap of the blow reeds. So what you do there is you push the poker inside the harmonica and you just bend the reed up a wee bit. Just push it up. Now if I reduce the gap to a negative gap or no gap, the blow reed won't make a noise at all. Okay, so you don't want to go that far. The draw reed should still work, but the blow reed won't work. So what you have to do is increase the gap until you get the minimum gap required for a good strong breath. Now if it's a really tiny gap, it will probably still blow when I blow very lightly, but if I hit it really hard it probably won't make a noise. Okay, so that's no good. I mean, when you're playing strongly you want those reeds to pop out instantly. So you have to increase the gap very slightly and until it makes a noise with a good strong breath, but isn't too far. It's probably a little bit more. Depends on how strong a hard player you are. Everyone has slightly different gaps on their harmonicas depending on how hard they blow, but I blow pretty hard. A little bit more. Okay, that's now responding straight away with a good strong blow breath. But the gap is nice and small, so that the draw reed now should make a really nice sound and be easy to bend. Okay, so it's really easy and responsive. So that's one aspect of gapping. Another aspect of gapping is to do with overblows. But that's really a rather more technical area that I won't go into in this video. But basically the general principle is to reduce the gaps as much as possible to make overblows easier. But in terms of general harmonica play, just this the kind of gapping that I'm talking about is really a simple thing to adjust yourself to make the harp respond a lot more easily. Okay, the second half of this video I'm just going to demonstrate some basic reed tuning. Now, reed tuning is something that a lot of players wouldn't even think of getting into, because they'd imagine that it's a very sophisticated thing that only top customizers could do, but that's not the case at all. It's actually very simple. As I said, Suzuki include a file with a little beveled end in the toolkit that they sell, and then we're going to use this little poker as well. Now, here's the fabulous chromatic. This is disassembled, the fabulous diatonic, I should say, disassembled. And I'll just show you how you can change the tuning of a draw reed and a blow reed. Now, remember, the draw reeds are the ones that sit on the outside of the harmonica, and they're the easiest ones to work with. So what you do is you get the blunt end of the poker with the rounded end, and you just put it underneath the end of the reed. And I'll just show you how this reed sounds now. Okay, so that's the sound it makes now. So we put the little, we insert the end of that just under the reed. Now, when you get your file, you want to file in towards the reed, because if you file away, you create little burrs on the end of the reed, which might make it stop working. So you just hold the little reed poker underneath the reed at the end, and then you get your file, and you just carefully file on the end of the reed this way. Now, what this is going to do is raise the pitch of the reed. So I'm doing it quite radically, so you can hear, you should be able to hear quite a difference. Just try and move the point at which the file works at different points of the reed, otherwise it's very easy to file right through the reed. So let's see what kind of sound this reed makes now. Hope you can still remember the sound from before. Anyway, that's gone up a little bit from how it was before. Now, if we want to take the reed back down in pitch to where it was, there's two things you can do. One thing you can do is add weight to the end of the reed to lower the pitch, or what you can do is scrape material away from the base of the reed. That's what we're going to do now. And you can get this scraper that comes in the Suzuki toolkit, and you simply support the reed at the end there, and then you just scrape away at the base of the reed like that. The scraper is a very hard material, and the more you scrape, the more the reed will go down. I should really have had a tuner here to show you how they change in pitch, but we're not doing massive changes here, just a few hertz in order to change the tuning a little bit. But that's anyway the principles of raising the pitch by filing the end of the reed, and lowering the pitch by scraping away at the base of the reed. And you can do quite a bit of that. Once you get good at it, you can actually raise a reed by 4 or 5 semitones even, and you can also lower them significantly as well. But most harmonica players are really just going to be wanting to tweak the tuning a little bit in order to make the harmonica sound more in tune. Now, with the blow reeds, it's a little bit more complicated. Probably the best thing to do is disassemble the harmonica altogether, because once you do that, these reeds that are sitting inside the harmonica will be exposed, and then you can work on them and work on them exactly as you would with the draw reeds. But if you're short on time and or it's just a small job that needs doing, you can still retune these blow reeds with them attached to the harmonica. So you just get your poker and you poke the harmonica poke the poker inside the harmonica, and you can see it lifts the end of the reed up so that you can now work on it. Now, in order to raise the pitch of the blow reed, probably the best way is to use this scraper and try and support everything on the table or whatever, and just push in with, well, there's a couple of ways you could do it. You could either draw the scraper towards you, which probably gives you more control, like this. Now if you look very closely there, you'll see that there's some scratch marks on the end of the reed, and it's amazing how a few scratch marks will raise the reed by tiny amounts, just enough to get the reed back in tune. And you can be as radical as you like. And obviously if you go on for a minute, you're going to be scraping off an awful lot of material, and the reed's going to get quite sharp. So that's how to raise the pitch of a blow reed that's in situ. And if you want to lower the pitch, you do the same as on the draw reed. You scrape away at the base of the reed, and again you just get your scraper and just do lots of little scratches. Because these scratches are in the middle of the reed and they're not at the edge of the reed, they're not going to weaken the reed significantly. There's other ways to do reed tuning. There's all sorts of little rotary tools you can use. There's little sanding devices you can use, but the basics are just the poker and the file, and basically with these two tools you can do some basic retuning while you're at a gig or on the road, and once you get into it you can develop and get other tools as time goes on.